You're listening to Factor Talk Radio.
Alright folks, so tonight I'm talking about the youth of America and how they're basically in trouble when it comes to learning the political system. Here's Scott Roberts. This kid, by the way, has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Just want to throw that out there. He's just calling in for a quick hello. Scott, how is everything?
It's going great, Jason. How about you?
It's going great. For those of you who don't know, by the way, Scott is one of the people who helped me with the Junior Factor for 3 years in the tech booth. So, Scott, how's he's going to University of Hartford, by the way. How are things there?
Going well. It's doing very well. In the middle of midterms, actually, right now, and to be totally honest, I'm procrastinating on studying. So
nice.
I figured I would call in and talk to you because I know how great you are with procrastinating.
Well, see, Scott, procrastinating is okay as long as you call into Factor Talk Radio. That's what makes it okay. In fact, if you procrastinate to the extent where you don't get anything done, just go into your classroom tomorrow and say, I procrastinated, but hey, I called into a radio show.
This is true.
And then your teacher. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. So, you were talking about. So, tell me your topic again for the show, because I feel like I have a philosophy midterm tomorrow, and I feel like I could shed maybe some philosophical insight on this. So, what was your topic today?
Tonight we're talking about the youth of America. I'm just kind of giving an insight look into how bad it has gotten and how much of an education some of these kids need when it comes to learning about politics of America.
Yeah, it's definitely important. Actually, well, for your audience, I am a part of the campus TV station.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, tell us about that a little bit.
So I am a reporter. Go figure. I go from the behind the booth to on camera, and actually I did a weather report this past Friday, which went excellently. But I did a story back a week ago, I believe, on an event that is occurring here. I believe it's sometime this week at the University of Hartford, where former governor of Connecticut, Jody Rell, will be on hand as a moderator for a panel discussion regarding incivility in politics. Now, I'm sure you know what that's all about. If you think about it, you turn on the TV and you see Chris Murphy and Linda McMahon butting heads and with their advertisements and everything, and even to the national point with Barack Obama and Mitt Romney.
Yep.
And so I spoke with this professor, who I will leave unnamed just for security purposes. But she shed some very, very good political insight on this, saying that how the voters who eventually will be us, will be you and me and the future of America, the youth of America, and how they need to be more critical of what the candidates give to the voters as far as, like, substance. If they're just throwing out, like, insults left and right, then that's not very substantial now, is it? They need something that they can base their votes off of. And so often now do you see just so many attack ads to the point where the youth of America is being turned off of politics.
Yeah.
And they need to understand that, well, they're going to be the ones making the decisions, whether that be on taxes, on foreign policy, whatever's going on. I mean, hell, we got the debate tonight, and people need to be informed about that. And so if the candidates are just bashing one another, and this goes for either Senate, congressional, presidential, anything like that, if they're just bashing each other, then what good is that going to do? All you're going to see is, okay, I'm going to vote for whoever gave the best insult or had the best comeback or something. And that's not what we want our country based on.
So that's an interesting point. So, and you know what, I agree with you. So how do you think they should go about getting the youth more involved with this? You said bashing heads kind of turns them off of politics. How do you think they can reach out and turn them back on to it?
Right, and I think, like the professor said, and what I agreed with her is, they need to start demanding more substance from these candidates. Now,
what do you mean by that exactly?
Well, they need to start figuring out what their their platforms are, what they plan on doing, rather than, I'll use the example of Chris Murphy versus Linda McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
The main argument against Chris Murphy is that he was not present for 80% of Senate hearings or whatever. I'm not sure what the exact stat was, but it had to do with not being in his chair or whatever for 80% of meetings or whatever. That's a big thing. Whether or not that's true, we don't know.
Right.
Linda McMahon, the argument against Linda McMahon has been centered firmly around
her wealth,
whether that's her bankruptcy or
how rich she was. And see that ad about
or how rich she was, or even her work with WWE, being the CEO, not giving her employees health care, and in the wrestling world, being a wrestling fan, honestly, those guys will need it because they're beating the hell out of themselves. But that's not going to give you anything. That's just repeating facts, whether it's Murphy or McMahon, either of those ads. It's just repeating those same insults, and you're really not getting a stance on where those two stand on their things. So I feel that it's necessary that, especially the youth of America, they need to start making the candidates almost forcing them to give more back to the people and give those facts out as to what they're going to do, what they plan on doing, and how they plan on doing it. Because otherwise, you're going to have a great majority of these people who aren't going to be voting in this election. And to be totally honest, to be able to vote in this country is a huge, huge political right. We are very lucky to have that right to vote. Not many other people do in other countries. But we need to take full advantage of that and utilize the right to vote. But if we don't know what we're voting for, then what good is it?
Very, very interesting point. So you're basically, you know what, I agree with you completely. You basically are saying that, let's take Murphy, McMahon, for example. Instead of bashing at each other, going back and forth, they should just come out simply and say, look, this is what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to do it. And you think that will turn the youth on to politics more?
I think it besides the fact that bashing them, it's just you see all these insults, and it's not going to give them any, they're just going to, again, like I said before, they're going to look at who has the best insult, who has the best comeback, and go off of that. Do we really want to go about elections based on who's the better insult comic or critic or whatever? That's not who we want in Washington, because that's not going to pull us out of whatever we're in right now.
Right.
So I just really think they need to connect more with their audience, because right now they're fading fast with the youth of America. And I think it's good, too, because, I'm sure it's the same at your college, because a lot of people are getting very involved in these debates and watching them.
Yeah.
And I think that's good, because that's getting them informed.
Right.
So that's a step in the right direction. And I think this panel discussion here at the University of Hartford is very important, because it's giving those ideas as to where we need to go in the right direction to bring civility back to politics so that we can understand better. And this panel is full of many, many people from Connecticut who are very informed on the topic of political incivility. They have a lot of experience in this. Off the top of my head, I don't remember their names, but they are very experienced in politics, and it's important, and I think that will be a very good step, but it's one event here in a small university in West Hartford, Connecticut. If we can get that across America, that would be really beneficial towards the world of politics, and I think that would really help.
I gotcha. Now, let me ask you something. You said you work with the TV studio there.
Yep.
Is there any are there any politics involved with that? Is there any political shows that they do there, or anything that they do with that network?
No, I do not believe that there are any political shows. I don't believe that there's a political stance or anything as far as anything. We try to bring at least the clear-cut news to the campus and to anyone else that's watching on the website, and on archive too. But I don't think that I know for a fact that there aren't any political shows, but we just try to bring the fact to the news show, and just try to bring that as clear as possible to the campus.
Right. Well, Scott, you brought up some great points. I want to thank you for calling into the program. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, no problem. Glad I could shed a little insight. And better than what I was going to talk about. I was just going to shoot the breeze with you.
Awesome. Well, call in whenever you want. It's always a pleasure.
All right. Good luck, Jason.
Thanks. I'll see you.
Factor Talk Radio.